2014 is over and good riddance. It was an awful year for a lot of people. So many bad things happened. We lost a lot of celebrities. And the salt in the wound is that bad cartoons were as rampant as they've ever been. There weren't really a lot of them, but the ones that were bad were really bad. So join me as we take a look at the worst cartoons that 2014 had to offer. Now for the past 2 years I've done best and worst cartoons of the year videos, and for those lists I have a few rules. The first rule is that these are new shows, so no seasons, no season 2 or anything like that, so stuff like Legend of Korra, Gravity Falls will not be included in this, and not like those would be on the worst list anyway. The other rule is that these are shows that premiered on American television in 2014. So no web series, nothing like the Rainbow Bright show that I reviewed, or Being Puppy Cat or anything like that. Also, if it premiered elsewhere, like in another country or online, or if it had a sneak preview or something the year before, but it had its official premiere in 2014, then it counts. Those are my rules. I think they're pretty simple, so let's get started. Number 5, The Tom and Jerry Show. This one, I don't hate this one, but I find it very, very underwhelming. I love Tom and Jerry. I used to love watching all the old cartoons, the MGM ones and the Hanna-Barbera ones, and it seems like every year they try to bring back Tom and... Not every year, but every like 10 years or so, they try to redo Tom and Jerry, and ever since like the original, they seem to get progressively worse. Like, the original, you can't beat the original Tom and Jerry. It's hilarious. They have great animation. Then you had like the MGM ones, and those were okay. They had their moments. They weren't bad, but they didn't live up to the original, but they're still very watchable. I still like them a lot. And then there was like one made by a Russian company, and then there was like Tom and Jerry Kids in the 90s, and then there was another Tom and Jerry show before the Tom and Jerry show, and then there's the Tom and Jerry show now, which is just so underwhelming. And I'm not even going to get into the movies. There's always seems to be Tom and Jerry movies. They're either doing something stupid like going into space, or they're just being put into an already existing story that they had no business being in the first place. The fact that the Tom and Jerry show is done in Flash 2 really negates the charm that Tom and Jerry had. I don't dislike Flash. I don't like using Flash as an excuse for poor animation, but this was just... It didn't work for me. It was just not my thing. I tried watching the Tom and Jerry show. I couldn't do it. It just didn't work for me. Again, I didn't hate it. That's why it's number 5. I guess at the very least I can say they tried. Unfortunately, they didn't succeed. Number 4, and I really hate to do this, but Mike Tyson Mysteries. The subject of my most recent video. I really hate to reiterate myself, but it's just so boring. They really could have did so much more with this. I was hoping it would be more crazy and more balls to the wall and, you know, really campy, but they just... It was just so dull. Like, I mentioned that the intro was a more interesting show than the show itself because it showed Mike Tyson punching dinosaurs and like riding a pterodactyl with a bazooka, and nothing happened. They just kind of, like, everyone talks so monotone and there's nothing interesting going on. And like I said before, the most recent episodes as of the last video, episode 4 and 5, I did kinda like. Honestly, my expectations weren't that high for this show. I was hoping, like I said before, it'd be a little bit crazy, but they didn't do that, and I'm just not that upset over it. And because there's gonna be new episodes, maybe it'll get better. Unfortunately, there was another show that was far more disappointing. Number 3, Sonic Boom. It never ceases to amaze me how many new ways we keep finding to ruin Sonic the Hedgehog. This is another show I did a Rob Watches on, but I'm just gonna repeat myself. How do you make Sonic the Hedgehog boring? How do you give no plot whatsoever to Sonic the Hedgehog? This is a character whose whole existence is about being cool. How do you screw this up? I like that a lot of people are comparing the show to the game. I think it's kind of odd that we're comparing a TV show to a video game. And they're saying, well, at least the show's pretty good. Watch it again. I mean, sure, in terms of functionality, the game sucks, but at least it had a plot. At least stuff was going on. In Sonic Boom, the TV show, I just don't even know. And it doesn't help that Cartoon Network has clearly tried to bury this show, because they had it on at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, and there was very little marketing for it. Like, I didn't even know it premiered for like a week. There's just nothing of value to this show. There's no plot, there's barely any jokes. The characters, ironically, are very flat. I think this is hands down the worst Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon that's come out. And given some of the other Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons, that says a lot. So at this point, we've officially passed all the shows that are just kind of disappointing. Now let's get into the really bad ones. Number 2, Breadwinners. So, when this one came out, I said I refused to do a Rob Watches on it because I didn't want to dignify it with an analysis. But I had to watch it for this video because everyone said how bad it was. And if I was going to officially put it on the worst list video, I had to check it out, and I watched a few episodes, and it is every bit as bad as everyone says it is. You know, a couple of shows that I really like are Adventure Time and Regular Show, but now I'm starting to hate those shows because of the trends that they've started. And a lot of stuff that came from shows like this are very prominent in Breadwinners. They have a lot of like weird lingo that they think is hip, and the characters, the two characters in the show, kind of do the thing that Mordecai and Rigby do when they do their songs. They're like "Rick in the lawn, we're Rick in the lawn," and then they do that kind of thing too. The problem is, Regular Show and Adventure Time have a lot of good qualities beyond that. Adventure Time has this great subtext about post-apocalyptic Earth. Regular Show goes way over the top, and it's fun, and they borrow a lot from like 80s cliches, and the characters are very likable and endearing. None of those qualities carried over to Breadwinners. This is a show clearly made by committee. Like, a bunch of executives saw what was popular on Cartoon Network, and they're like, oh, I'll just take stuff from that and make our own show, and then we'll have money. And then it turned out to be one of the worst things ever. I guess if I can praise the show for one thing, and yeah, I actually did find something about it I like, is a lot of the backgrounds in the show are very, very video game-like. They're very 16-bit-ish, like Super Nintendo type of, they have like pixels, and it looks kind of neat. And a lot of the show's music is chiptunes, like 8-bit, 16-bit sounds, and that's pretty much the only thing I liked about the show. And even that really doesn't fit with the motif of the show. It's not a video game based idea. It's just put in there because people like it. That's it. There's no reason for that. They could have just made regular backgrounds. They could have just had, some guy do some, basic background music for it. But no, they didn't. They're like, well, hipsters like old stuff, so let's put some retro gaming stuff in there. That's really all the show is. That's this show in a nutshell. So yeah, Breadwinners is really bad. And in past videos, even before I started doing these on YouTube, I have uttered the following sentence, and I will continue to utter it until I get a straight answer for it. Nickelodeon, what happened to you? You used to be so good, and it seems like every year you get just a little bit worse. Last year I did a list of the top 8 worst shows of 2013. Nickelodeon took up half the list, and they took the #1 spot. So, how did a network that used to be so good and had such great shows, like, where the hell is it? Right here. Rocko's Modern Life. This show was really funny. It's still funny. How did a network go from cool stuff like this to just garbage like Breadwinners? So, I don't know what Nickelodeon's deal is. All I know is that they better clutch onto that Ninja Turtles franchise for dear life. Because now that the Avatar series is gone, that's all they got. They're lucky at least that's good. So as bad as Breadwinners is, there was a show in 2014 that was far worse. Because with Breadwinners, at least I found one thing that I kind of liked about it, even though it didn't really fit. But I can't find a single thing I like about this show. The #1 worst show of 2014, Mr. Pickles. Oh god. So this one I actually did want to do a Rob Watches on it, but I couldn't do it because I can't look at this show. This is one of the most disgusting, just vile, unappealing show to look at that I have seen in a while. And I can sit through a lot of awful crap. Just the character design is just the worst. Everybody's got like wrinkles and big bug eyes and big noses, and their skin is like this sickly shade of yellow. And like, I tried to watch it for a while and I couldn't do it. Every time it came on TV, I just instinctively reached for the remote to turn it off. It was painful. That's another thing. I don't think I've had a show that was this painful to just look at. Not since maybe Problem Solvers, but we're trying to forget that existed. The premise of the show is basically Mr. Pickles is like this psychotic, satanic dog. Basically, he's like the anti-Lassie. Like, he will like kill people and put them in a dungeon, and he sits on a throne of like pentagrams and bones and stuff. And that's another thing about the show. It has one joke. Evil Lassie. And that's it. Like, this could have just been a one-off. In fact, when the pilot premiered a while back, I thought it was just gonna be a one-off, like that Too Many Cooks thing that they did. But no, they turned this into a whole show somehow. And what's even worse is that at the time of the premiere, or the premiere of the pilot rather, they had another show that had a pilot. I believe it was called Uber Mansion. I think it was the guys that did like Moral Oral and all those like all the stop motion stuff they do, like Titan Maximum, although we're kind of trying to forget about that too. But that show was actually kind of funny, and if you get a chance to check it out, I believe it's still on the Adult Swim website. Just check it out. It's basically like superheroes who are roommates in this giant mansion, and they have like financial problems. And I know that doesn't really that me describing it doesn't really do it justice, but it was actually kind of funny, and I kind of wanted to see more of that, but apparently that fell off the face of the earth. So instead we got Mr. Pickles. Everything about this show was offensive. The way it looked, the fact that none of it was memorable outside of maybe the premise. And honestly, yeah, I've actually managed to muscle my way through a couple episodes, and I can't remember anything that happened. It's just, nothing stuck with me. There's nothing memorable about it. And the fact that it's getting new episodes is just proof that there is no justice in this world. It is very wrong for me to judge a cartoon based solely on its looks, but Mr. Pickles, you are ugly. Inside and out. So those are my top 5 worst shows of 2014. Let me know in the comments section what you think, and let me know if there might have been any shows that I missed. My name is Rob, I'm wonderful, and join me next time for when we look at the top 5 best cartoons of 2014.